Hey guys, I'm Marlon, and for my article, I'm going to be doing it on When is Buff Enough? The Effect of Body Attitudes and Narcissistic Traits on Muscle Dysmorphia by Nathan Collis, Vivian Lewis, and Dimity Crisp. So the central idea of this article is revolving around the idea of body image attitudes, and body image attitudes is the idea of how a person perceives and thinks of their body image. Although this is primarily reported among women, this level of body dissatisfaction is now being present in men in recent decades. Body dysmorphia, or muscle dysmorphia, reported among men is the preoccupation with muscularity and physique that includes attitudes and behaviors with the intent to increase body mass. A lot of activities include excessive weightlifting, large dietary supplements, and even taking anabolic steroids. Although there are no exact causes of this, one study does suggest that the exposure to muscular men and advertisements have led to increased anxiety, body distortions, and reduced self-esteem. This study aims to find implications and potential causes of muscle dysmorphia through examining the relationship between male body attitudes, narcissism, and levels of muscle dysmorphia. Previous literature suggests that those with body dysmorphic disorders are comorbid with narcissism and histrionic, antisocial, and borderline personality traits. They have two parts of their hypothesis, the first being negative body attitudes or higher body attitude scores are positively related to indicator of muscle dysmorphia. Second, men who currently weight train would have more body positive attitudes or lower body attitude scores and higher levels of muscle dysmorphia than men who no longer weight train. So for the method section, the sample size included 117 men aged between 18 and 58. They were categorized into three groups: those who currently weight train, which comprised of 78, those who formerly weight trained, comprised of 28, and those who never weight trained, comprised of 11. These men were recruited through Facebook and in the University of Canberra and completed an online questionnaire via the Qualtrics survey website. For the measures, the questionnaire comprised questions to assess demographic information, so questions such as age and sex, and physical exercise history. So for example, whether the participants engaged in weight training and the frequency at which they weight trained. Some of the responses were from a 10-point scale from 1 to never to 10 more than 7 times a week, and some of the responses included once a year, several times a year, once a month, 2 to 3 times a month, once a week, or 2 to 3 times a week, and so forth. The questionnaire then proceeded to ask about body images using a 15-item male body attitude scale revised. Ryan, Morrison, Roddy, and McCutcheon, 2011, and these were used to measure their levels of attitudes toward their body image. It used a 6-point Likert scale ranging from 1 to never to 6 always. Some of the items represent an attitude towards body fat. So some of the questions included, I think my body should be leaner, I feel embarrassed about muscularity, or I wish I was taller. A score was totaled by reverse scoring negatively worded items, ranging from 15 to 90. Higher score denotes greater negative perceptions, while lower scores meaning lesser negative perception of body fat. It then asked about narcissistic personality characteristics using the Narcissistic Personality Inventory 40. These were used to assess narcissistic personality characteristics by asking a pair of statements, one of which was considered narcissistic, while the other non-narcissistic. They were asked to respond to which they most identified with. The scores were summed up with a total range of 0 to 40, higher scores reflecting greater levels of narcissism, while lower scores, lower levels of narcissism. Finally, the questionnaire ended off with muscle dysmorphia using a 25-item muscle dysmorphia inventory, short 2005, to assess indicators of muscle dysmorphia. So the participants responded to each item on a 6-point Likert scale, ranging from 1 to strongly agree to 6, strongly agree. The total score was obtained after reverse scoring the negatively worded items. The scores were ranged from 25 to 50, higher scores meaning the higher levels of muscle dysmorphia, and lower scores meaning lower levels of muscle dysmorphia. Some of the questions included with, I would not be willing to participate in activities that require wearing swimsuits, and so forth. results were found by using a bivariate correlation to find the relationship between body dysmorphia, narcissism, and body image attitudes. The results found a large positive correlation between body image attitudes and indicators of body dysmorphia, with an R value of 0.67 and a p-value of less than 0.001. The results found no correlation between narcissism and body dysmorphia, with a Spearman rank correlation of 0.14 and a p-value of 0.146. Furthermore, they found that there are significant differences in attitude between those who currently weight train and those who no longer weight train. They conducted an independent t-test and found that those who currently weight trains, with a mean of 42.40 and a standard deviation of 11.30, scored lower or more positive attitudes than those who no longer weight train, with a mean of 48.28 and standard deviation of 13.43. However, there was no significant difference in levels of narcissism, with a t-value of 1.68 and a p-value of 0.096, or indicators of muscle dysmorphia, a t-value of 0.131 and a p-value of 0.896. So to recap, the first objective of finding a positive correlation between higher body attitude scores with higher indicators of muscle dysmorphia was supported through their data. Their second objective of finding scores of whether higher body attitude scores and indicators of muscle dysmorphia were higher in groups who currently work out to those who formerly worked out was partially supported. This fits in with previous literature, as their findings of positive correlation between negative body image and muscle dysmorphia further supported previous muscle dysmorphia models of Grieve 2007, Caffrey et al. 2005, and Olivardea 2001. Furthermore, the comparison between those who currently work out and those who formerly worked out show a strong association between muscle dissatisfaction and lowered self-esteem. Caffrey, Strauss, and Thompson 2002. They found that those who currently worked out scored higher on body image attitudes than those who no longer worked out. And furthermore, they found that there was no association found between narcissism and muscle dysmorphia. Some limitations include that the present study only focused on two components of Caffrey et al.'s 2005 model of health risk behaviors and Grieve's 2007 model of muscle dysmorphia. Second, there was a relatively small sample size of participants who no longer weight trained, and this small sample size in some of the frequency categories. So there was not an accurate level of frequency such as once per week, 2 times per week, 3 times per week, and so forth. And because of this, it may be less precise. Third, when they were trying to find the differences between those who currently engage in weight training and those who no longer weight train, there was not a model for which they last weight trained in those who no longer weight trained. So because of that, there could have been a clear indicator of body images, attitudes associated with weight training. And lastly, participants who met the diagnostic criteria for muscle dysmorphia were not actively sought out for this study. It was a convenient sample, and because of that, those who were not diagnosed with muscle dysmorphia were a part of the study. So in conclusion, those who with negative body attitudes do have some indicators of muscle dysmorphia, as long as it is in a subclinical setting. However, there was no association found with narcissism. They found that although men who engaged in weight training had more positive body attitudes compared to those who formerly weight trained, it was those who specifically weight trained once per week or less who had a significantly more positive body attitude than those who had previously trained at this frequency.